Hi there, BookTube. It's Tuesday, which by all rights means it should be Tag Tuesday, and I should be doing a tag, and I'm not. Two reasons for that. One is that I've got a new tag, original tag kind of brewing in my head, and I think that I'm going to let that stew and record it next weekend so that maybe people could do it next Tag Tuesday if they want to. But instead, because it's Tuesday the 2nd of March, I'm making it be TBR Tuesday instead, cheekily, and going to just quickly talk about the things I'm going to read in March. Now, March is a monstrous month because it is the month when everything happens, it seems, on BookTube. We've got March of the Mammoths, March of the Moderns, March Mystery Madness, is the Irish Readathon, and it's Women's History Month. And for me also, it's the second month of reading books for judging my round of the BookTube prize. So choosing books for March is an interesting challenge. Plus, I have my own kind of things that I always try and fit in every month, like something non-fiction, a play to do discussing drama with Tilly, some poetry, and my 2021 goal of trying to kind of each month do you read at least one thing that's something I've been sort of meaning to complete, like, you know, the second or third part of a trilogy, say, or something from a series that I've bought into but never finished. So the only solution is to make things double up and work extra hard, and that's what I've tried to do. Now, very, very fortunately, and with a bit of planning of which of the 6 I read in February and which I read in March, one of my BookTube prize reads, Gin Patrol on the Purple Line, is a mystery of sorts, so that's going to be my March Mystery Madness book. And another is Actress by Anne Enright, who's an Irish author, so that gets a tick for the Irish Readathon. Anne Enright is a Irish author that I really appreciate, so I don't feel that's at all a cheat. I might have read an Anne Enright for an Irish Readathon anyway. The third one I have to read, The Glass Hotel by Emily St. John Mantell, doesn't tick any boxes, but can't win them all, can you? Now, what else am I going to do for those sort of goals? Well, a second book that I would like to read this month, if I can fit it in, for the Irish Readathon is an author that I've been meaning to read for some time and that various people have kind of recommended to me, but I've just somehow never got around to. And that's Molly Keane, also known as MJ Farrell, and the one I want to read is Good Behaviour. And yeah, if you've read it and you think that I should prioritise it, let me know, but I hope to read that one. My March of the Mammoths book is this one, Kristin Lavransdatter by Sigrid Undset, but this also scores for me on my finish things off that you started reading and haven't gone back to, because it's actually in effect a trilogy of books, or it's one book but in 3 parts, and you can treat it like a trilogy. And I read the first part like a year and a half ago, and I've never got back to the to parts 2 and 3, but happily they absolutely do add up to at least 800 pages, which is the March of the Mammoths kind of threshold. So I'm definitely going to start this in March, because the kind thing that our March of the Mammoths hosts do for us is say that you don't have to finish your mammoth in March, you just have to start it. Beautifully, this also works for Margaret Pinard's lovely March readathon, which is March of the Moderns, because it's a book from the 1920s, and her kind of challenge to us is to read things from the first half of the 20th century, which is a brilliant suggestion. Actually, kind of like almost my favourite period for writing. So this one definitely gets started this month, even though not finished. I've got another book in mind for March of the Moderns, though, and that's a book of poetry. And it's selected poems by Marianne Moore, and this was published in 1935, and it's a perfect fit for March of the Moderns because was one of the she's like a modernist poet, like she really epitomizes that sort of poetry of that period. And whereas I know people like sort of T.S. Eliot well, I've never actually dug into Marianne Moore, so I'm really looking forward to that. As a bit of fun for March of the Moderns, I'm going to read Summer Lightning by P.G. Wodehouse. And if this book looks a little old and battered, and there might even be bits of glass in it, that's because this was a special present which I had from Tilly, because she bought it, would you believe, in a second-hand bookshop in Beirut, and she saw it there and thought of me because she knows, that I love the wonderful, funny, clever writing of P.G. Wodehouse, and she thought that it would appeal to my sense of humour to read a book that was written in Britain in 1929 in a copy that turned up in a second-hand bookshop in Beirut. Better still, inside it's actually got a return, like someone saying, please, return this book with a phone number that one couldn't possibly now ring, and you wonder when that was written. That's Moderns then. So what's next? Oh, how could I forget? Absolutely essential. It's Women's History Month, and I couldn't possibly not mark that in my reading in some way. So my non-fiction book this month is going to be The Covent Garden Ladies by Hallie Rubenfeld. Now, so that is women's history written by a woman historian, and it's she's a social historian, and it's a book about the sex workers of 18th century London. And if you watch the rather daft but quite enjoyable TV series Harlots, this is the non-fiction book that was based on. More recently, she wrote The Five, the book about the Jack the Ripper's victims, kind of trying to restore to them a history beyond being sort of labelled as low-life women, as it were. So that's my definite reading plans. I still need to pick a play. Tilly and I will work out what that's going to be later in the month. We did an Irish play in January, but another Irish one is a possibility. Or I'm thinking maybe looking for an older woman playwright to sort of link in with Women's History Month. We'll see. And the other thing is my new country, and probably that's going to be a book from Kazakhstan. I've got one called really nice, The Dead Wander the Desert. Now that sounds like that would be a real contrast to my other reading this month, doesn't it? So we shall see. What are your reading plans? Are you going to do any of these readathons? If you are, do share.